Back in Biz was a live stream reading event originally broadcast in the winter of 2021, featuring episodes from the Solve It Squad animated series being developed by Tin Can Bros. These are those episodes.
Cold open. Interior Solve It Squad Clubhouse Day. The squad is jammed into the old Solve It Squad HQ, a treehouse adorned with maps, drawings, and memorabilia from their childhood exploits. It's way too small for 4 adults in their 30s. Keith, a delusional bro who likely peaked in high school, attempts to take charge.
All right, squad, let's get to work.
POV of Instagram, where Gwen is live streaming their meeting. She feigns the bubbliness of an influencer with ease, relentlessly shrewd in pursuit of the limelight.
Yes, the rumors are true. The Solve It Squad is back in Biz. Keith, tell him what we're doing.
Keith enters frame, and the flurry of hearts on the screen instantly turn to thumbs down emoji.
Sure thing, babe. Looks like we got big trouble at the little Mayberry Zoo. It seems, fam, that their one and only ferocious tiger has gone missing.
Scrags, a straight-laced, gangly, and slightly jumpy man, interrupts.
Easy there, Keith. The details of squad operation should remain within the squad. Bad guys have Instagram too.
Gwen flips the camera back to herself.
Ooh, hot take, Scrags. What do you all think? Send a kissy face if you agree.
Esther scoffs. They are brilliant, paranoid, and heavily self-medicated.
Great idea, Gwen. I'm sure you'll get thoughtful feedback from all those Russian bots.
Okay, let's put away the phones and focus up, squad. We need to debrief from last week's mess before we move on to new business.
Post-mortem? Let me handle this. My character ended every episode of Officer Dr. Cop MD with one.
Well, as the ex-cop of the group, my real-life knowledge is probably a bit more relevant than your experience on a TV show that kind of jumped the shark after season 2, Gwen.
You watched it?
Scrag stands up, bumps his head on the low ceiling, and hobbles over to a whiteboard.
Okay. 1. During the stakeout, we needed someone to alert us when the culprit left out of the back of his trailer.
Okay, I'm sorry I forgot to charge the walkie-talkies.
And 2, we needed someone to sniff out the culprit's cologne at the science fair.
It's not my fault. Mass market scents all smell like bleach.
Well, Gwen, we should hold ourselves to a higher standard.
We've been solving shit like this since we were kids, Scrags. We always catch the bad guy. It's in our blood.
Esther lights a joint, takes one long drag, and burns the entire thing. With the remaining filter, they do a bump of cocaine, then shotgun a beer, and then let out a huge burp. Scrags grabs the can and throws it out the window. Keith snatches it out of the air.
Sports!
Keith desperately tries to shake out the last few drops into his mouth.
Okay, well, forgive me if I don't want to make the same goof-ups we made as tweens. If we're going to do this again, I want to do it right, all right? We need someone or there was something to keep us focused and our morale up. I mean, for Pete's sake, I'm 35 and I don't want to regret getting another Clubert. Was an integral part of our, and yes, totally irreplaceable. But I mean, who are we? Who am I without that dynamic? You know what I'm saying?
Beat. The squad takes that in.
That you desperately miss Clubert and you want us to get a new group dog?
Yes, please, God, I want that so bad. Please.
Whoa, this post Nordstrom just got real, son.
Back in 1995, 4 meddlesome teens and their talking dog Clubert achieved pseudo-celebrity status by solving mysteries that had somehow stumped adults. They called themselves the Solve It Squad. Cracking cases in the 90s style, showing crooks crime never pays. But then Clubert got murdered in a satanic ritual and everybody went their separate ways. Flash forward. Esther's been on LSD every other day. Gwen went into acting to pretend the pain away. Scrags was in the FBI with PTSD. Keith is just a fucking loser living in a brain. Solve It Squad, Solve It Squad. Getting back together cause life sucks on their own. Solve It Squad, Solve It Squad. Scooby-Dooby, Ruby, Zippity-Bop.
Act 1. Exterior puppy ranch. Morning. The squad is getting a tour of Rhoda's Ark from the owner, Rhoda, who wears bedazzled pink glasses. The ranch is overflowing with dogs, cats, and even farm animals. The animals' dominion over the yard is chaotic and a bit sad.
Growing up Catholic, lots of gals fell hard for the big guy upstairs, but WWND is what I always said. What would Noah do? Animals have souls, more so than most humans. But you're not here for a sermon. You're here for dogs, right?
They pass some dogs.
So there's Buckwheat, and that's Detective Axel Foley under the porch. There's Sherman Clump cooling off by the tree there. They're all named after Eddie Murphy characters because he's my favorite.
A cute dog sidles up to Rhoda. She picks him up in profile.
Oh, how about little Norbit here? Very well adjusted considering his run-in with animal control.
She turns the dog around to reveal a robotic arm and a Terminator eye. Keith looks away in fright. Rhoda puts Norbit down and he playfully lolls away.
Actually, Rhoda, Scrags is too nice to tell you this, but we're in a bit of a hurry and he's looking for something very specific.
Yeah. Do you have any talking dogs?
A pregnant pause while Rhoda sizes him up.
Talking dogs. Yeah, we got those, but I have to charge you a higher adoption fee than, say, Pluto Nash here.
She holds up a dog-sized iron lung with a tiny wheezy dog inside.
Oh, I don't think we could ever love a dog like that.
Suit yourself, honey. Make a left at the hog pen, a right at the kitty corral, and they're all in that soundproof barn. You can't miss it.
Scrags nods and exits, followed by Gwen. We hear a mooing off screen.
Oh, time to offer some moral support to a cow who's giving birth.
Interior talkie barn moments later. The barn echoes with animal sounds mixed with the chatter of talking.
Oh, how about this little sweetie? She's got eyes like Clubert.
Gwen picks up a naive dog.
Oh no, this is all just a big misunderstanding. My family will be back to get me any day now.
Bless your delusional little heart.
She sets the dog down, repulsed. Scrag walks over to pick up a hard-eyed pup.
Choosing a dog is an art, not a science, Gwen. Sure, you're considering breed, age, and pre-existing health conditions, but you're also looking for that, je ne sais quoi, that indelible first impression, that memorable meet cute you'll never forget.
I'll suck your dick if you adopt me.
And this ain't it.
Exterior puppy ranch pasture later. Esther, Keith, and Rhoda approach the cow pen.
Me, I tumbled out of my stroller at 9 months old and lived amongst the squirrels in an old oak tree for 3 days until my parents found me. So wildlife and me, we have a special connection.
She puts on enormous rubber gloves and enters the pen where Belinda, a cow, is mooing loudly in the efforts of childbirth.
Then I'm sure you were pretty bummed when you heard someone in Mayberry stole a tiger from the zoo last night.
Folks will pay a pretty penny to have a big cat of their own. And meanwhile, I can't even pay people to take home these vagrant pups. It breaks my heart. I hope you find the scoundrel.
Well, Mayberry's pretty small, so if we can eliminate the locals, it'll just leave everyone else in the entire world as a suspect.
Rhoda has positioned herself near the rear of the heaving cow.
I'll keep an ear out for you. Will you give me a hand? I gotta make sure Belinda here doesn't slip and crush her calf.
I can't. His K-Swiss are brand new.
Don't mind Keith. He's emasculated around anything that demonstrates a female's biological superiority. But not me. Shall I stick my hand up Belinda's ass?
No, but I may need you to administer a sedative.
Oh, okay, rad.
Rhoda hands a syringe to Esther, who squirts some of the sedative in their mouth, swishes it around, and swallows.
Careful, boy, you're in the splash zone.
Off screen, a loud moo and a wet plunk. Keith's eyes go wide and he promptly passes out. Interior talkie barn later. Scrags is on his hands and knees amongst the dogs. Gwen sits on a bale of hay modeling a cowboy hat for a selfie.
I don't know, Gwen. None of these dogs are as smart or as quippy or as cute as Clubert.
We get it. Clubert is impossible to replace. So don't. Maybe you need some cat energy in your life.
No, it has to be a rescue dog. I just don't want to force it.
Well, if these options have too much personality, there's this amazing breeder in Delaware that Goop recommended.
Gwen.
And Gwen. I was joking?
She wasn't. Scrags considers a few more dogs.
We've built this city. We've built this city on treats and bones.
No thanks.
Hey, kid, I don't want to belong to any kennel that would have me as a member.
Yeah, okay.
If you don't take me home, I'll still suck your dick.
Whoa.
Almost ready to give up, Scrag spots the rattiest dog in the bunch cowering near the back of the barn. He instantly feels pity and love for it. Emotional music swells as Scrags walks over and offers his hand up for a sniff. He slowly goes in for the pet.
Hey, little buddy, I'm Scrags. What's your name, huh?
The dog coughs a couple times to clear his throat as if he hasn't spoken in ages. When the voice finally comes out, it sounds a little hoarse, like nails against a chalkboard.
Hi, I'm Donkey. Are you my new dad?
Exterior zoo tiger cage day. The squad is spread out near the empty tiger cage, speaking with the zoned out zookeeper, Ken. Keith is caked in dry mud from his fainting spell. Scrags has Donkey on a leash.
Okay, so you went to the bathroom before your final rounds of the night, and in that time, the tiger was stolen?
I was on the can reading an article my sister sent me written by some guy named Ronan Farrow. Boy, is he thorough.
Oh, I just retweeted that this morning. I thought it was such a brave headline.
So after your break, did you notice if the culprit left anything behind? Bubblegum wrapper, a footprint, clumps of hair?
I mean, this is a zoo. I don't think you'd be able to tell what's human hair and what's animal hair.
Oh, I know.
Keith calls out from the empty tiger cage.
Is it normal for a tiger to take such a big dump?
Well, they often release their bowels after being tranquilized.
What? You sedate the animals?
Oh, no. I figure the culprit did it before snatching up the tiger. Maybe with this dart?
Ken pulls out a small dart. Esther quickly grabs it with her jacket sleeve.
God, it's so cool, man. Fucking A. Whatever fingerprints were on this are totally compromised.
But the scent may not be. Donkey, hey, why don't you take a whiff of this, all right? Can you pick up any strange smells?
Donkey gives a hesitant sniff and perks up. Alert, he begins zigzagging around the grounds following a scent.
Oh, there you go, buddy.
Donkey sniffs up to Keith's foot.
Scrags, I swear I'm being framed.
Donkey quickly moves on and sniffs elsewhere.
Nice, proven innocent.
The squad follows Donkey past the bathrooms and into the zookeeper's office. Donkey makes his way over to a small table in the corner with monitors showing the security footage.
Oh, yeah, the security tapes. I forgot about those.
Ken, you are the worst witness.
Donkey sniffs around the keyboard and the tape deck.
What is it, buddy? Smell something fishy?
Was the catnapper in here?
Did they mess with the security tapes?
Donkey lifts up his leg and starts spraying piss all over the equipment. Everything short circuits and the monitors go black. Interior zookeeper office moments later. The aftermath. Ken is trying to soak up the piss with paper towels. Gwen is blow drying the tape deck, and Keith is dipping tapes in a bowl of rice. Esther is working on salvaging the last night's tape. Scrags is consoling Donkey.
Did I do bad? Are you gonna kill me?
What? No. You were marking your territory. That's a totally normal and healthy thing to do.
I wouldn't be so sure about that, Scrags. This piss is thick and kind of red.
Looks like Donkey has the UTA of UTIs.
Well, regardless, Donkey led us to our first solid lead. Esther, how's that tape looking?
It's looking like an absolute nightmare, but I'm working on it. Back in the day, I used to fix cum-damaged VHS tapes at Blockbuster. This is nothing. And bingo.
Esther pops the tape in and fast forwards through the previous day's footage.
Where are all the guests? Was he just an especially shitty tiger?
Well, now that you mention it, attendance is probably low because the circus is in town. Hell, that's where I'd be if I wasn't working.
Oh my God, what? Already? Oh, I hope there were still tickets. The Rothman and Ringting Traveling Circus is the best.
Management wouldn't want me to tell you this, but the circus is our toughest competition. Our animals are probably happier, though, since we don't torture them into performing deadly tricks.
Wow, way to ruin that for me.
Oh, so now you tell us there's an ongoing feud between the only purveyors of big cats in town. It's like pulling teeth with you, Ken.
I didn't see how it was relevant.
Ken, sweetie, they're called suspects, and we determine their motive to solve the mystery. Is this your first time being a witness in a major crime?
Oh, wait, stop the tape, Esther.
2 hooded catnappers appear on screen next to the tiger's cage, but the damaged footage makes it hard to discern any detail. They break the lock on the cage with bolt cutters and climb inside. As the tiger approaches, they shoot it with a dart and it falls to the ground.
Maybe this zoo circus feud has escalated, and they've resorted to stealing your attractions to improve theirs. Ain't that right, Doinky?
They turn to Doinky, who's eating a dry tape out of the piss-soaked rice.
My tummy hurts.
Oh, criminy.
Scrags tries to finger the tape out of his mouth.
I spot 2 guilty parties, meaning double trouble. Therefore, we should probably get a second opinion. New plan.
2 people can work at a circus.
New plan! We pay a visit to my Uncle Wyatt. He is a big game hunter who tried to take me to Kenya to hunt elephants on my 8th birthday, but my mom called him a pathetic sociopath, so he ghosted us for like 6 years. If anyone could identify the source of this dart, it's him.
Or we could just look up local distributors on the tranquilizer dart manufacturer's website.
Gwen starts typing on her phone.
Fine, Keith. You and Gwen, you head to your uncle's house, and Doinky, Esther, and I will see what we can find at the circus.
Splitting up, but keeping the power couple together. I like your style, Scrags.
I have no interest in meeting your uncle. I'd rather die. Or worse, go to the circus.
Great, it's settled.
Keith tries to put his arm around Gwen and is rebuffed.
Well, Doinky, this would be the perfect time to shout out a quirky catchphrase.
Angle on Doinky, who has a disturbingly bulbous mass protruding from his rear.
My anus collapsed.
Everyone gasps in disgust.
I'd wear that on a t-shirt.
Act 2. Exterior circus tent, afternoon. Scrags and Esther approach the entrance of a big top circus tent. They're greeted by Jerome, a cheery usher.
Step right up, folks. Here to experience an afternoon of sheer wonder.
If we have to. Do you take Bitcoin?
Yes, we do. Bitcoin, Litecoin, coins as big as your head. The circus industry may be dying out, but we like to stay current. See?
Jerome scans Esther's phone, then notices Doinky.
I'm sorry, sir, but no pets allowed.
Oh, he's not a pet. He's a service animal.
Do you have papers? Notarized papers?
Well, no, but I have a very serious case of self-diagnosed anxiety. Look, I promise he'll be no trouble.
Okay. Okay. A promise is a promise, as we circus folk like to say.
Jerome unhooks a velvet rope and welcomes them in. As they pass, Doinky leans over and bites Jerome's hand.
Ow! You promised me no trouble. Get out of here.
Can we get a refund?
Security!
Esther
and Scrags briskly walk away.
Oh, gee whiz, Doinky. What'd you have to go and do that for?
Well, he had big fat sausage fingers.
2 clown security officers run out of the tent. Esther and Scrags hide behind a family photo op and stick their faces in the cutouts. Esther is the dad, Scrags is the mom, and Doinky is the baby. Jerome points in the direction they went, and the security guards turn and crash into each other, falling down like it's a bit. They get up, pantomime getting into a security golf cart, and drive away in the opposite direction.
We gotta keep a low profile.
Say cheese.
Camera flash. A photographer snaps a pic of them. Exterior Wyatt's house, day. Keith and Gwen walk up a long, unkempt driveway to the front door of a big, musty house. Keith rings the doorbell and it makes the sound of a rifle shot and an elephant trumpeting. No answer.
Bet Scrags and Esther are finding so many good content opportunities. Meanwhile, I'm stuck here at this gross-ass house that does, frankly, not fit my Instagram aesthetic.
Keith reaches up to the brass door knocker shaped like an elephant head and pushes in on the 2 tusks. A spare key pops out of its mouth.
We'll scour through my Uncle Wyatt's weapon cache to learn more about our mystery dart. Think of it like a great adventure, babe.
Keith opens the door and it lets out a long creak. Interior, Wyatt's foyer. They look around the dim and cavernous entryway. Gwen pushes past Keith and begins recording herself on her phone.
Hey guys, so we're here in this creepy old house doing some sleuthing. Isn't this fun? This really isn't enough light for a decent exposure, even with night mode.
Gwen flicks a light switch on the wall.
Gwen, no!
Keith tackles her out of the way just as 2 dozen arrows fire at the spot where Gwen was just standing. Keith ends up laying directly on top of Gwen. She looks at Keith deeply as her eyes begin to well up with tears.
Keith, your chapstick is digging into my hip.
Right. Chapstick.
They climb back to their feet.
A booby trap? Paranoid much?
Well, he started doing it when I was in high school to keep me from raiding his liquor cabinet. But I was unstoppable. Back then, I was called Keith the Thief.
Keith gives a disgusting wink at Gwen, grabs her by the hand, and runs down the hall ninja warrior style, just barely avoiding obstacles. He hopscotches past a row of enormous bear traps that snap closed just as they passed. They rebound off the wall to avoid a trapdoor that drops open and spews 10-foot flames. Finally, they grab the chandelier and swing across a chasm to avoid a spinning saw blade pendulum. On the other end of the foyer, Keith stands with Gwen in a triumphant but pained pose.
Easy peasy.
Exhaustion immediately sets in and he steadies himself on the table, triggering one last trap. The vase tips over and a golf ball rolls out and down a track, activating a series of Rube Goldberg contraptions. Gwen sees where this is going and pushes them one step to the left, just narrowly avoiding a net that falls where they were just standing.
Yeah, sure, Indiana bonehead.
The sound of a gun cocking. Keith spins around and comes face to face with the business end of a blunderbuss aimed by a grizzled old man.
I wasn't expecting company.
Exterior circus backstage later. Performers are coming and going, warming up and chatting with each other. A firebringer roasts a turkey leg by blowing flames on it and then takes a bite. A high flyer walks past gossiping to a sword swallower.
If Julie doesn't shut up about her podcast, I'm literally going to drop her on her head. And it won't be an accident this time.
The sword swallower tries to nod in agreement, but gags on the sword that's down their throat. Scrags and Esther duck behind a trailer.
Damn, we stick out like sore thumbs back here.
Esther grabs some disguises off a passing rack of costumes. They wrap themselves in a sequin scarf and put a clown nose on Scrags.
Ow. Esther, this can't possibly work.
A unicyclist rides past them.
Hey, Rod. Hey, Monica.
All right, let's split up and see if we can find that tiger. Why don't you and Doinky look by the wheel of death over there, and I'll go check by the cage of death.
They split, but Donkey stays frozen between them.
Doinky, come on, what's wrong?
But what about Mom?
Huh?
Esty is my mom?
No, Doinky. Esther is more like a kooky cousin.
Mommy?
Scrags, I'm gonna need you to either make it stop or slit my throat right here and now.
Just a little separation anxiety. Come on, buddy.
He picks up Doinky and begins a Snoop ballet, gracefully transitioning from one hiding spot to the next. They twirl behind a popcorn cart and appear on the other side, snacking on some popcorn. They Aikido roll over to the corn dog stand and fluidly house a corn dog in one bite. Finally, Scrag spins around a cotton candy machine, covering himself in fluffy pink candy, which he promptly slurps up in one fell swoop. Scrag licks his fingers and surveys some tents and trailers.
All right, Doinky. Looks like we just need to get over to... Doinky?
Scraggs realizes he's holding an empty harness. Doinky's gone. Interior Wyatt's hallway, simultaneous. Keith and Gwen casually stroll down the hallway with Keith's Uncle Wyatt, who is resetting the bear traps.
Were those saw blades new, Uncle Wyatt?
Yep. Never get to see them in action, though. Amazon delivery guys don't make it past the bear traps. But I like to keep things interesting. Speaking of which...
Wyatt's eyes dart to Gwen.
Oh, right, Uncle Wyatt. This is the love of my life.
I'm his work acquaintance, Gwen Berrywood. We're hoping to talk to you about the big game trade. Pick your brain on ammunition and see if you had a pastel-colored wall that might photograph well, preferably with natural light.
Anything for my most favorite nephew, little Kiki.
Wyatt ruffles Keith's hair. Keith, embarrassed, changes the subject to the huge variety of taxidermy animal busts lining the walls. Some of them are famous cartoon animals.
So, in addition to his excellent traps, Uncle Wyatt was a world-class huntsman.
You don't hunt anymore?
Well, with regulations increasing every year, it's become harder to hunt exotic animals in the wild. We used to take to the plains and slaughter everything in sight in a furry bloodbath. Oh, how we would laugh. But the private hunting parks have taken all the joy out of it.
Any chance the animals in those private parks are stolen?
Oh, very likely. But you quickly learn to keep your trap shut, or risk becoming the most dangerous game yourself. Because they'd kill you.
Not unless you killed them first, right?
Wyatt nods gravely as they walk past the bust of a human head mounted on the wall.
I can't help but notice that you don't have any lions or tigers.
Ah, yes, big cats. My white whale. Metaphorically speaking, of course, I've slaughtered countless whales. But lions and tigers were the ones that got away. Speaking of which, Kiki, glad to see you're finally over that gal you were obsessed with in high school.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that or anything.
Oh, I'd like to hear more.
What was her name? Tiffany? Daphne?
Taffany. Her name was Taffany.
Kiki was obsessed with Taffany, and when she dumped him, it broke his little heart. Couldn't get him to stop crying for months. Completely destroyed him and some of my favorite rifles.
Of course. Dermatologists say that tears are incredibly corrosive.
Ooh, she's sharp. Kiki, this one's a keeper. That Taffany girl was a total airhead, though she did cut a nice figure. And actually, Miss Berrywood, you quite resemble her. Hell, you could even be her mother.
Gwen is immediately irritated.
The ghosts of our past. They haunt us forever, don't they?
Wyatt turns to look back down the long hallway at all the creatures he's killed. A gust of wind rushes through the hall, echoing with the voices of the dead animals.
Murderer. I had a family.
Exterior circus backstage, simultaneous. Scrags is searching for Doinky in a full-blown panic. Behind a crate, he spots Doinky walking up to identical twin jugglers throwing clubs at each other.
Doinky, get back here.
Oh, hi, little friend.
Juggler 1 puts down his clubs and goes to pet Doinky, who promptly bites his hand.
Ah, my hand. I'll never juggle again.
Finally, I'm going solo.
Scrags runs out into the opening and snatches up Doinky, but they are immediately spotted by the clown security officers.
There they are.
The clowns run towards them, but Esther darts out in front, closes an invisible door, locks it, and swallows an invisible key. The clowns bang on the door, unable to get through. Esther, Scrags, and Doinky run around the corner to the animal cages.
You saved me, Mommy!
Sorry to burst your bubble, but I had my tubes tied at 20.
They begin poking around a large empty cage. Inside are broken chairs covered in claw marks, signs of a tiger. But curiously, they also find black and orange paint residue and foot-long strips of fur. The ringleader, Mimi, approaches, fully decked out in a crimson tailcoat and a bowler hat.
Hey, this area is closed to the general public.
She notices their ridiculous get-ups.
And we don't hold open auditions.
Oh, hi. We're not here to audition, although I can do that thumb trick. So, anyway, could you point us toward whoever is in charge here?
Mimi begins to point away, and she slowly brings her arm back around to point at herself, grinning slyly.
Cute.
When your family's been in the circus for generations like mine has, you can't help but clown around.
A musician with a handful of cymbals drops them, making a ba-dum-tsh sound.
I'm Mimi, ringleader and owner. But seriously, you can't be here during showtime.
We know. Security's already after us. It's cool. I'm Esther, and this is Scrags.
Doinky jumps on a beach ball and tries to balance, but falls flat on his face.
And that pitiful rat is Doinky. Now, we're investigating a tiger thief in the area, wondering if you've seen anything suspicious like that right there.
They point to the empty tiger-sized animal cage.
We'll need to see your current registration for your tigers, wherever they are, so we can confirm they're not stolen.
Mimi looks nervously towards the empty cage.
Why don't you step into my office?
Interior, Wyatt's den, simultaneous. Wyatt stands behind a counter, polishing a shotgun.
So what can I do you for? 22 millimeter long rifle, 9 millimeter short, a novelty sized Acme bullet?
We're actually looking for information about this.
Keith plunks the tranquilizer dart from the zoo on the counter. Wyatt examines it with an oversized magnifying glass.
Ah, yes. Looks like you got yourself a big honkin' whopper popper there. Heavy duty shit. You can buy these at any Meijer, Target, or Walmart. Have you called them to cross-reference their recent sales? That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I suggested that, but Kiki said he had a better idea. So how long would this dart knock out a tiger for?
Long enough to maul them, haul them, and stuff them. Around 12 to 18 hours. But to land one, you've got to get real close to those ferocious felines. This baby can't fly much further than I can. Because I'm on a no-fly list. Point is, whoever shot this dart either knows animals, works with animals, or hunts animals.
Well, that certainly narrows it down. Looks like we've finally blown this case wide open.
The shotgun Wyatt was polishing suddenly goes off, blowing a puff of smoke into Keith's face. When it clears, Keith is covered in soot with his hair shooting backwards.
Oh, now imagine if that was loaded.
Interior, circus office, simultaneous. The trailer is full of circus equipment and the walls are adorned with memorabilia. Esther wobbles back and forth on a small balance board. Scrags bounces gently on a ball with Doinky on his lap. A chimpanzee sits in a corner of the office doing a crossword puzzle.
Rothman and Ringting isn't the operation it used to be, but as long as there are ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages who still want to be amazed, the show will go on. To business! I don't have any paperwork for you because we stopped performing with animals when I became ringmaster.
Well, then what's with the cage filled with animal fur?
Yeah, it's just some kind of Lakaja fur.
Exactly. It's faux fur. We don't own performing animals anymore.
What about the chimp?
Reginald?
I do payroll.
Okay, so the paint and the fur are just some
theatrical magic, my dear boy. See for yourself.
Out the window, performers in patterned leotards rearrange themselves into different animals with amazing dexterity.
Our secret? French Canadians. Supple and slippery as silk. They can use their bodies to form any shape imaginable. Tiger, giraffe, elephant, bear, even a hybrid of all four. A tiger-elephant bear. They're so good that audiences forget they're watching 6 garçons from Montreal. Plus, they're cheaper to feed than the big cats were.
Poutine is ready.
The performers all cartwheel and backflip away.
So, looks like you wouldn't have use for a stolen tiger then.
Esther suddenly convulses and falls off the balance board.
Oh, whoa, brain blast. Mimi, how much advertising have you been doing? Do most people know you're in town? Has an influencer ever done spawn for your show?
We don't have much of an advertising budget these days, but word of mouth works all right for us.
Maybe we can help each other out.
Act 3. Interior circus tent, later that night. Gwen signs autographs for a line of fans as guests clear out from the evening show. A father snaps a picture of Gwen posing with his daughter.
Say, solve it, squad.
Solvent squad.
Solvent smog.
Wow. Glad we caught your Insta post, Gwen. You sure gave a single dad a reason to put on pants and do something nice for his little girl.
I just couldn't stand to think of anyone in town missing the rare and nearly extinct Canadian lion.
She gestures towards a cage in the center of the tent. Inside is a really bizarre looking lion. Its limbs are lumpy and baggy and its movements are jerky and erratic.
I can see why. It looks very ill.
Well, as my character, Officer Colleen Maxwell, MD, was wont to say, I don't know whether to arrest it or diagnose it.
My ex-wife loved you in that show.
He gives a too big laugh. Gwen joins uncomfortably. Over by the cage, Keith is setting up a net trap and watching Gwen intensely.
Guys, when was the last time you remember me telling a really funny joke that made Gwen laugh?
The head of the lion turns to its butt and speaks.
You know what? I'd feel better if we just reviewed the plan one more time.
The butt chimes in.
Please, for the love of a non-existent God, no. I will piss in this suit if I have to hear it again. That's a threat.
It's just that if Donkey can't fit in the suit with us, I want to make sure he's going to be okay.
Angle and Donkey in an animal carrier strapped to the back of the motorbike next to Keith. He's gnawing at his tail, looking up, ripping off a huge portion of it. He swallows.
It'll grow back.
Relax, Scrags. The little D-bag is safe with me.
He reaches over to the carrier and notices that Donkey isn't inside anymore. He spins around and spots Donkey about to chew on a frayed electrical wire. Gwen snatches Donkey up and returns him to Keith.
All right, so what's my role?
Okay, let's review. After all, the plan is impressive and complex, like Ocean's 12.
As Keith explains, his fantasy of the whole plan going off without a hitch plays out.
Scrags and Esther are hiding in the lion costume in human centipede child's pose.
Gross.
Kinky.
While Donkey and I are waiting patiently on the motorbike hidden from view, I am gently revving the engine and making that baby purr. My hair is perfectly coiffed. I don't have time for helmets.
I had to wear a helmet once when I scratched my head until my skull shone.
Okay. Once the thieves make their way to the cage and onto the hidden net trap, I twist that torque and pull a sick wheelie across the big top, tightening a rope that tips over this bucket, which pours water down a twisty slide, creating a current down that tiny sailboat so that the single needle on its bow pricks the butt of the narcoleptic clown, who startles awake and opens the tubes connecting to the helium tank to a bunch of balloons that fill up, lifting the cage formed by a dozen French Canadians far into the sky, setting Reginald free, who walks over and flips the lever, triggering the trap. Uncle Wyatt would be so proud.
So my part is after the monkey?
Reginald glares at her.
Gwen, you have the most important job of all. Filming this whole thing so that we can see it go viral on TikTok. And I don't want to risk losing the footage.
Winky, I'm going to be right here in the cage, okay? You'll be able to see me the whole time.
And if anything unusual happens, I'll be sure to scream.
No, don't do that, Donkey. Just stay quiet, okay?
Yep, okay. Unless I'm triggered by any sudden movement, sounds, or unfamiliar faces, then I scream. Yeah.
No, you idiot. That'll blow our cover.
One of the French Canadians who makes up the human cage speaks up.
So, do we have a time for a smoke before the showtime?
Interior circus tent. Later that night, everything inside is quiet. The lion is sleeping in its cage. Inside the suit, Scraggs scrolls through photos on his phone. Behind him, Esther draws a stupid face on Scraggs' ass with a Sharpie. Scraggs finally finds a cute photo of Donkey where he's only a little blurry. At the other end of the tent, Donkey is laser focused on his dad in the lion suit. He has a crazed look in his eyes, while Keith sits on the motorbike, looking at Gwen's Instagram. He leaves a comment with 2 heart eye emojis. A new comment appears from Sad Dad 77 with 3 heart eye emoji. Keith glares. At the top of the bleachers, Gwen considers both comments from Keith and Sad Dad 77. She clicks Sad Dad's profile. It's the father from earlier, and honestly, he doesn't look half bad. On a whim, she likes his most recent post. Interior father's living room, continuous. The father lounges on a recliner in a schlubby robe and boxers, staring longingly at Gwen's like. He glances around to see if he's alone and slowly moves in to kiss Gwen's picture on his phone screen. His daughter appears in the doorway behind him.
Daddy?
Startled, he throws his phone and shatters a window. Interior circus tent, continuous. 2 cloaked catnappers slink into the big top and creep towards the edge of the trap. Keith pockets his phone and preps for his big moment. Scraggs finishes his photo caption and posts it. Ding! Gwen has immediately liked the photo. The notification echoes through the tent. The catnappers stop in their tracks. Scraggs tenses up and holds his breath. Then he farts right into Esther's face.
Ah,
Did you really just butt burp into my face?
Esther shuffles around, wiggling the butt of the lion. Catnapper number 1 takes out a tranquilizer gun. Doinky begins a low growl.
Gee, chill.
Catnapper number 1 shoots the butt of the lion.
Ow! What the fuck?
Doinky starts barking and scratching viciously at the sides of his carrier. Keith tries to stop him, but Doinky bites through the mesh and charges at the catnappers.
Doinky, bad shit.
Keith accidentally hits the throttle on the bike hard, and it pops a wheelie, which launches the bike straight into the air before crashing down onto the ground with a huge cloud of dust. The force of the fall immediately collapses Keith's complicated Rube Goldberg machine. Hearing the noise, Gwen finally looks up from her phone at the chaos. Reginald the chimpanzee sits atop a pile of French Canadians, eating a banana and reading An Actor Prepares.
Amateur.
Catnapper number 1 steps closer to inspect the talking lion. Esther unzips the butthole, squeezes their torso through, and grabs the dart to check the label.
500 milligrams? Do I look like a squirrel to you?
Scrags pokes his head out of the lion's mouth.
Go get him, Doinky!
Doinky rushes at catnapper number 2, who makes a hand gesture that immediately stops him in his tracks. He sits and begins licking his wiener.
Ah, shit.
Catnapper number 2 runs off, leaving catnapper number 1 staring down Esther. They shoot Esther with another dart.
I think you underestimate the tolerance I've built up.
They shoot Esther again.
Is there even anything in these?
Again.
This is like acupuncture for me.
They rapid fire their rounds.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze.
Just then, the net is triggered, snatching catnapper number 1 up. Gwen has pulled the lever. She walks over to the dangling criminal.
Looks like you need a prescription for a stint in the slammer.
Ooh, boo.
Interior circus tent later. 2 police officers, Mimi, and the squad stand around the masked catnapper number 1, who's still tangled in the net.
All right, pal. Time to let the cat out of the bag.
He whips off the mask.
Holy crap!
Holy crap!
It's
the
the guy.
the guy from the zoo guy.
The zoo, right?
I worked at the
I
zoo.
have a name. My name's Ken.
Well, not anymore. Now you're just another crime statistic to feed into the system. Consider the choices that brought you to this point. Was it worth it? Was it?
Someone's a little testy because their PLAN didn't work out.
I should have known that whole zoo versus circus thing was bullshit. Even sounds like a made-up feud. Like pillow versus curtain or mayonnaise versus Dua Lipa.
But why steal your own tiger, Ken? Like, you work at the zoo, man. You could pet it anytime you want.
I don't give a shit about the animals. I was just trying to make a quick buck so I could quit this stupid job.
Well, good news. You've been hired. At prison. The hours are long and the pay is shit. We'll take it from here.
Well, but officers, we still need him to give up the identity of his accomplice.
Don't you worry. We got ways of making him talk.
The officers escort Ken out. After a moment, police officer number 1 steps back in.
He's talking about torture. We're going to torture the living shit out of this guy. You got that,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that was loud
for
and
sure.
Yeah,
clear.
there
I
is
was
a
trying to pretend like I
systematic
didn't.
problem with law enforcement in this country.
Yeah.
He exits and the squad is left milling about.
Well, 1 out of 2 bad guys caught. Not bad. 50% success rate, right?
That would be rotten on the fresh meter.
Scrags, we all agree, and I hate to be the bearer of bad
Then
news,
don't.
but also I don't care what anyone thinks, so Doinky is a liability.
What?
Come on, Scrags. All day he's just been a huge obstacle.
Gwen's right. If he hadn't ruined my rock solid plan, we would be TikTok famous right now.
This just isn't gonna work.
Scrags takes a moment to consider. He lifts up Doinky and looks him square in the eyes. Doinky is making the absolute cutest face. This is going to be hard. Exterior puppy ranch the next day. The squad waits impatiently as Scrags kneels next to Doinky. Rhoda stands across from them, rapidly petting a dog that may or may not be dead. A little mutt is tearing away at the hem of her dress. Another is humping her calf.
It's like I always say, dogs are for everybody, but not everybody is a noble person who can take care of another living creature.
Are you mad at me, Dad?
No, Doinky, I ain't mad. I never been mad, and I ain't now. That's the thing I want you to know.
But what about Mommy? Does she hate me?
Scrags turns to Esther, who is nodding their head yes.
No.
A loud roar comes from behind the barn. A bunch of dogs run around the corner and begin barking incessantly at Keith.
Got a Great Dane out back squirting out a litter of 12. Never fuck with a girl boss and all.
Reach, girl.
The barking gets louder and angrier.
Scrags, can we wrap this up?
Sure, 1 second. Doinky, I want you to look out past that dog eating a pigeon head out there. And let me tell you about us someday. We're going to get a little place.
How's it gonna be?
Well, we'll have a cow and maybe some pigs and a chicken. And down the flat, we'll have a little patch of alfalfa.
For the rabbits?
This guy about to shoot my dog or something?
More dogs arrive to bark at Keith.
That's right, Doinky. For the rabbits.
And I'm a rabbit, right, Scrags?
No, you're a dog, Doinky. Okay. You can almost see this place, can't you? Right?
Keith is now completely surrounded by barking dogs.
Am I the only one who feels straight up unsafe right now?
We just can't go there right now. Okay?
What did I do?
Rags, please end this.
Nothing. It's nothing you did. It's just who you are.
The barking has reached a climax.
Mushu, Dolomite, James Thunder Early, take a chill pill, will ya?
Rhoda immediately does a simple hand gesture, then immediately causes all the dogs, including Doinky, to stop barking and start licking their private parts. Scrags catches it instantly.
Can't you see a man's trying to break a dog's heart right now?
Thank you, Rhoda. That sure was a nifty trick.
First thing I teach the little heathens when they land, shut your yap and beat your meat.
You teach it to all the animals staying here?
Sure do.
What about the zoo's missing tiger you're hiding out back?
Crap.
Freeze, Rhoda!
She immediately bolts across the yard. Scrags pulls out his gun and aims. Bang! Rhoda hits the dirt hard. Scrags looks at his gun, bewildered. He peers back to see Esther twirling the tranquilizer dart gun like a gunslinger.
Lightweight.
Esther shoots a dart into their neck, winks at Scrags, and lets out a sigh of relief. All the dogs begin to wander over to Rhoda's body and sniff it.
She really had me with the whole animal lover act.
Well, I, for one, saw right through it.
I mean, this place might as well be a zoo.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious in retrospect.
More animals come from the backyard and begin to sniff and piss on Rhoda.
Guys, when you think about it, without Doinky, I mean, knowing that command at the circus, we never would have caught Rhoda. Maybe he's not so useless after all.
Doinky waddles over to the gang, a long turd dangling from his butt and dragging across the ground.
Dad, can I has an idea for the next case?
Let's hear it, bud.
Well, Rhoda's been watching these YouTube videos about 9/11, and they make some pretty good points. I mean, think about it. There's no way that jet fuel could melt and steel inside the World Trade Center, and the Israeli government...
Doinky continues rambling about conspiracy theories, dragging his poop with him. Scrag stands up and solemnly looks at the group.
You're right, he's useless.
Attaboy.
The tiger from the zoo saunters out from behind the barn. The other animals scatter as it approaches Rhoda's body. The squad watches, then their eyes go wide.
Oh shit, it's got her foot!
Somebody call animal control!
Keith and Scrags run off. Esther is laughing uncontrollably. Gwen, staring in horror, slowly pulls out her phone to film a TikTok.
Solid Squad, getting back together cause life sucks on their own. Solid Squad, Scooby-Dooby, Wooby-Dooby, Zippity-Bop.